Lindy is a girl suffering from extreme bursts of anger caused by the high levels of cortisol coursing through her veins. Her dysfunctional family did not make things better, and soon she was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, meaning Lindy is literally a walking IED due to her condition. Lindy was forced to live an isolated life under government care, who experimented on her as her condition caused her to be stronger and faster than everyone else. Unable to be controlled, Lindy was sent to be a part of the military, but could not last long with the number of triggers around her. There was, however, a breakthrough, and Dr. Ivan was able to create an electroshock vest to calm her down in times of high stress. We then see Lindy going out on a date to meet Justin, an accountant. She meets him in the restaurant, but Lindy has no hopes of the date going well and tries to excuse herself, but Justin entices her into a conversation which gets her to start talking, listing off the things she hates. Justin seems like a really cool guy, wanting to know more about Lindy. The waitress comes to take their orders, and not wanting Justin to lose his table, Lindy decides to sit for a while. The waitress starts being a tool when Justin tries ordering something he is not allergic to, not realizing that Lindy is on the verge of committing homicide, but she hits her buzzer and calms down. She goes to the bathroom and it turns out the same waitress is yapping away in the stall and Lindy starts fantasizing about beating her ass. Unable to resist, Lindy bursts into the bathroom and smashes the shit out of the waitress. Not wanting to face Justin after that, Lindy hurriedly leaves the restaurant, leaving a disappointed Justin behind. She gets back to her dimly lit apartment, revealing all the electrodes attached to her body. Her vest, however, is broken, so she heads over to Dr. Ivan, who doesn't take any chances with her, reaching for his gun. He thinks she is just building a tolerance, but agrees to take a look and hands Lindy handcuffs for her to secure herself. She tells him about the failed date, as it was an experiment to see if she could get along with others while wearing the vest. He reminds her that the vest is not a cure and she can't always blame her biology for her actions, but Lindy is just fantasizing about beating his ass too. Ivan ups the voltage on the vest and reminds Lindy that he thinks a genuine human connection would help her, but Lindy is not interested in having a boyfriend as she would only end up killing him. On the train ride, Lindy busts a guy's face open for manspreading, then decides to give Justin another shot. The two meet for a walk along the pier where Justin again draws Lindy into another conversation and learns about her former job as a bouncer, which she lost after sending a guy to the hospital. She even starts talking about what she loves, like photography, and Lindy realizes she really likes him. The two make out, where Lindy again doubts that she is ready, but Justin is too into her. They get into Lindy's apartment where Justin sees the electrodes attached to her body. She tries to explain, but Justin does not want to hear an explanation, just those cheeks clapping. Lindy wakes the next morning and Justin is still there with her and has made her breakfast. He then surprises her with an expensive camera. She again tries to explain what the vest is for, calling it an impulse control problem. Justin suggests meditation, but Lindy has tried everything, from meditation to extreme sports and martial arts. Lindy is attached to Justin and wants him to stay home, but he has to leave for work. Lindy now feels like a whole new person, rushing over to Ivan to tell him the good news. She has left the vest at home, as thoughts of Justin calm her down. Ivan sees that she is really attached to her new lover and tries to sit and talk her through what she is feeling, but Lindy is too excited and rushes out. She goes around taking photos with her new camera that evening, before heading home and preparing for a date with Justin. A few hours later and Lindy gets no call from him, and when she finally gets through, she hears a Detective Vickers from Homicide answers his phone. Lindy visits the station and is shocked to learn that Justin was murdered and found in a dumpster. She asks to see his body, but only family members are being allowed to see him. The cops leave their card and tell Lindy to call if she remembers anything. Lindy attends Justin's funeral and soon falls into a state of depression which morphs into anger. She rushes over to Ivan and attacks him, and he is forced to sedate her. She wakes later in Ivan's office, and he apologizes for Justin. Lindy begins to ponder on Justin's case and remembers he mentioned that he only had one client. She gets mad and is determined to find out who killed Justin and get revenge. Ivan tries to talk her out of it, but she shuts him down, noting she only knows how to hurt people and she is going to put it to good use. She then gets in contact with Detective Vickers, asking him to come to her home as she may have more info. As soon as they leave, Lindy enters the office and breaks into the evidence room and steals some items. Lindy tracks down Justin's apartment, which is exquisite with expensive items. She is looking around when she gets a call from Vickers, who found out she stole evidence and is giving her the chance to turn herself in. It turns out he is parked outside and his partner Detective Nevin is on her way up. Nevin bursts in, firing shots at Lindy before holding her at gunpoint, demanding she surrender. Nevin gets distracted talking to Vickers, and Lindy disarms her and escapes the room. She locates Justin's supercar and jumps in, speeding from the garage, just as Nevin returns to her car and the cops give chase. Vickers calls Lindy, urging her to stop as he will not be able to help her. Lindy ignores them and hits the gas, leading the cops on a high-speed chase. She gets blocked and hits a U-turn, driving head-on into Vickers, forcing him to swerve and crash. Lindy heads over to a local tech store and has the nerds there lead her to a hacker named Andy. Andy hacks into the device and discovers the last few calls came from an abandoned building owned by Barry Kasparsky, who turns out to be on the FBI's most wanted list. She tracks Barry down to a building where an illegal fighting match is underway. Lindy interrupts the match when she sees Barry and directly confronts him about his connection to Justin. She demands to know who killed him, and while Barry denies killing him, he refuses to say who did. Lindy then offers to beat 3 of his best guys in return for the info, and Barry agrees. Hearing that there are no rules, Lindy starts dropping the guys with some dirty shots. The last big man thinks he stands a chance, but Lindy rips out his piercings where piercings shouldn't be and beats his head in. Barry calls a stop to the fight and calls an end to the event. He and Lindy go for a ride in his private vehicle where she again demands to know who killed Justin, but Barry had no plans to give her any information and has his driver hold a gun to her head. Lindy simply beats both their asses. Barry is tied to the hood of his car with his nuts about to be electrocuted by Lindy. Terrified, Barry reveals that his boss Gareth Faisal was responsible. He warns that Gareth is very powerful, but Lindy does not care. Vickers is in the hospital after the accident, and Nevin shows him Lindy's file, noting that she is very dangerous and could be responsible for Justin's murder. Vickers, however, thinks she is innocent. Nevin leaves the room and Lindy surprises Vickers by showing up. She tells him about Gareth Faisal and her urge to find him, but Vickers again warns that she would be risking her life for someone she hardly knew. Lindy admits to not knowing much, but Justin was the only person she could be around without the urge to murder, and he didn't deserve to die like that. Hearing this, Vickers gives her Gareth's location. Nevin tries sneaking up behind her, but Lindy attacks her and escapes. There is a short chase, but Lindy manages to lose her by hiding on the baby ward. One of the babies begins to cry, almost triggering her, but she zaps herself. Nevin bursts in, but Lindy starts tossing babies at her, distracting her and escaping. Later, Lindy stands outside the building owned by Gareth. She enters and comes face to face with a man, demanding Gareth's location. She is then met by the head of security, Delacroix, who appears to be leading her to Gareth but suddenly knocks her out. Lindy wakes strapped to a chair with her vest removed. He refuses to return her vest and orders her to leave the premises or else. Lindy is driven from the building but is slowly losing her cool. She demands that the man release her for his own sake, but when he refuses, she chokes him out, forcing him to crash. Meanwhile, Delacroix enters a secret room to meet Gareth, who is an old man. Delacroix tells him about Lindy asking about Justin and is ordered to take care of her. Lindy breaks into Ivan's office, and he enters to find her sitting there shaking and holding electric wires prepared to bite down in case she freaks out on him. Ivan pities her and plans to make her another vest. She doesn't plan to stop hunting Gareth, but innocent people would be spared along the way. Lindy returns to her apartment but enters through the window where she sees a bomb planted at her door. Lindy re-engineers the bomb, then turns on the stove in her apartment. She finds Vickers in his car outside her apartment. He again urges her to stop and pulls out cuffs, but Lindy tells him about her condition, not wanting to hurt him. She makes him feel the shocks that she gives herself, but Vickers only sees a woman willing to hurt herself rather than others. Suddenly, Lindy's apartment blows up, and she escapes in the chaos. He calls her later, worried that she could wind up dead trying to get her revenge, but it's too late as Lindy is already climbing Gareth's building. She gets to the top, but Delacroix is already there waiting for her and drags her before Gareth. Gareth knows she is there to kill him and learns that she wants revenge for the accountant he killed. Gareth has killed many accountants and laughs at her. Lindy tries to attack him, but Delacroix knocks her out again. She wakes in the same chair, again with her vest removed and attached to a machine. Delacroix then begins to drain Lindy's blood, but the stress causes her to break free and attack him. There is a brief fight, but Lindy overpowers Delacroix. She then tortures information out of him. As she is heading to Gareth, she runs into the security team, but Lindy is too fast and strong and takes them all out. She finds the secret entrance to Gareth's office, but as she enters, she is greeted with Gareth's dead body. Suddenly she hears clapping, and Justin himself walks out revealing that he faked his death. He is in fact a CIA agent who used Lindy to kill Faisal as the CIA could not be responsible. He was able to choose Lindy after she was recommended by Ivan, and Lindy realizes that she was played all along. She tries attacking, but Justin has a remote for her vest and tries electrocuting her. He mocks her weakness and falling for him, calling her a well-trained dog. He hits his remote, but Lindy has gotten immune to its effects. She then throws her bag to him and rushes out, and Justin realizes too late and is blown up. Lindy returns to Ivan, who admits that he had been doing as Justin had said. Vickers and Nevin arrive to find Lindy holding Ivan at gunpoint against the wall. Assuming she is trying to kill him, they shoot her in the leg, but they discover she was handcuffing him to hand over to them. In the hospital after receiving treatment, Vickers asks Lindy on a date. After leaving the hospital, Lindy returns to her burnt-out apartment and is met by a mysterious woman, who tells her she was a superior to both Ivan and Justin and tries to convince Lindy to join her.